table.
Mm.
Good.
Get it? Got
Okay.
that.
All right. Yo, what's up? This is a Good Life podcast. The Kickback, it's your boy, Good Life Russ. We come to you with another rendition of one of the greatest podcasts ever, where we talk about mental health, we talk about knowledge, we talk about wealth, we talk about the advancement of our culture and our generation, but we also talk about life skills, we talk about fun, we talk about money, all the things people are interested in. I'm excited to be back.
I know.
It's been a while.
It's been a little bit.
Since we've done this. I didn't got on here and ran into y'all and told y'all how to get your mental health together, but since we actually had a conversation, it's been a while.
It has.
And this feels good.
Welcome back, people. Y'all missed us.
Absolutely.
We missed y'all. We missed you guys. Well, it's been a while since I've been on here, so allow me to please reintroduce myself. My name is Jess. J to the E to the SS. That was horrible. Please.
You tried.
I tried. I committed and I did there, but let's take it back. But it's your girl Jess. I'm back. You can find me on Instagram at Jessica_XO_rabbit. Find me, follow me. Let's start some stuff.
Yeah,
Have
some
good times.
conversations.
Right.
And I am Goodlife_Russ on everything. Everything. Just type it in, you'll find me. So we have a special guest, and her name's Tia, because I forgot that fast how to say it. So please take the mic, please.
Hi, everyone. It's Tianisha. That's TIANISHA. Payne. I'm from Girls Emerging into Maturity. I'm the founder of our organization. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Okay, so I like to get straight into it. Explain like the idea behind your organization. Like how did you come up with the inspiration, and when did that get started?
So back in 2015, Girls Emerging into Maturity was developed because I wanted to open a group home, but I wanted to have realistic curriculum and a mindset when I wanted to take on teams, what that would look like. So I started writing for a group of girls that I've never even met yet. The program didn't launch until 2017.
Okay, nice. So how's it been going?
We're 5 years into the game. So writing for 2 years and then being active, thank you, for 5 years has been a blessing and a lot of lessons.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. Was there any, not times I would say that you wanted to turn around, but were there any times that it was a little tougher to push forward and keep going with the organization? Or how's it 5 years?
I would say yes. Back in 2019, we first we like to call them Express Yourself sessions. That's where we open up the community for girls ages 10 to 18. At first, it was 12 to 18 to be a part of the Express Yourself events, where we talked about mental health, creativity, making vision boards, just having open dialogue with our teams. So back in 2019, every 3 months, we will have Express Yourself sessions. And I wanted to have a location that we're constantly going to. So we were kind of bouncing around. We're doing it at the libraries, doing it at the Dayton Boys and Girls Club, and just trying to find locations and spaces. So back in 2019, the original CEO of that location left. And so we had to find a home. I was just talking about this earlier. So I started looking or going to other organizations who had like bases. Went to the Victory Project with Mr. Monty. He's amazing, but that was an all-boy group. So they were like, no, I'm sorry. But he didn't just say no. He passed me to another location, which was the Wesley Center. So that was also a no. But that was with the old Mayor Brian McLean. She absolutely loved what we were doing, but we didn't have the money for the space. So she's like, I don't want to charge you. Because I know you guys are a no organization. That was still a no, right? So she passed us to McKinley. And I'm like, Pastor Peter's like, we needed a space. And so he's like, you know what? You're new. I'll give you a chance. And so we've been at the McKinley United Methodist Church for the last, that's 2019, 3 years. So it went from being able to do it every 3 months, trying to find a location, pay money out of pocket, And at the time, I was funding everything. We didn't get it incorporated till 2019. And so after that, we were here at McKinley. So instead of just bouncing around, we have a home on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We now have a location where we meet from 6 to 8 at McKinley. Also, that 12 age kind of dipped down because they had siblings. And then I seen our 5th graders having the same or dealing with the same things as a 12-year-old. I'm like, dang, this generation moves a little quicker, but it's access to technology that really drives it.
Yeah.
So exposure. And I'm like, we can get down to 5th grade.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what area in the country are you doing this in? Like, what state are you in?
So when I started writing, I was in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
I was working at JP Morgan Chase, and I wanted to come home. And my mom had gotten into a bad car accident. It's a long idea. And I'm like, Mom, I can come home. I make decent money. You going home. It's, I got this, Mom. So I put on my Superwoman cape, came home, launched the program. And so we're out of Dayton, Ohio. Not Columbus. We went to Dayton.
So is this something you want to expand past Dayton, or is this a local thing?
Definitely want to expand. We receive girls, we are receiving girls from Columbus. We receive girls from Cincinnati, from Toledo. And so whether we physically moved places early on, we're receiving their girls, especially for the summer. We were looking at expanding to Michigan. So Detroit, Michigan. I have a partner, well, not a partner, a friend, almost like a sister who was in the Ohio State Young Scholars program with me because I went to Ohio State. And she's in the military, she's in the Air Force, and she volunteers down here. She's like, Tia, we should do it where I'm at because she's fully capable, you know. She has a psychology/social work degree, just like I do. So,
nice.
So we may just skip a couple cities in between and go to another state. So,
okay. Is there a way that girls could join in with you guys via, like Zooms, or if they're not in Dayton or not in the state?
Yeah, more. We have a YouTube page, we have Instagram, we have Facebook. We can use Zoom. That's a free base for us. I think Microsoft X or Microsoft Word, whatever it's called. Can't even think of it. So many different virtual interactions. They can always just hit us up, email, Instagram, Girls Emerging Against Maturity. Facebook's the same name. YouTube's the same name, and say, hey, can we join in? We do recommend that they understand confidentiality, meaning the conversations that we have is just for us, our sisterhood. It is not to be exploited by any means. For example, we have something called a gym box. Within that gym box, our girls are able to ask anonymous questions that they are afraid to talk about in general. So it can stem around sexuality, mental health, how they're dealing with parents, dating, school, ins and out about the program. So it's always a way to expand on it. We just ask for confidentiality.
Yeah. And that's a very safe thing to have. I mean, remembering back to when we were, going through adolescence and not having that space for us to be able to share that and, to have this conversation with older, matured women that really aren't our mothers or our aunts, and somewhere that we are, that we feel confident in releasing, just, I need someone to talk to that I don't feel like judged as well.
Yeah, so the gym box actually adds to it because sometimes even when you are in the same space, you feel like questions may be dumb, or you may be the only one that is experiencing it. So when you're dealing with questions about, an alcoholic mother, you don't know that the other girls in the room, parent is also suffering from addiction, but you won't know that out loud because that's a portion that touches you that you may be not as comfortable, not necessarily ashamed, just not as comfortable as expression. So that box, our gym box, we've had over 150 questions for the last 5 years. Wow. And when I say those questions absolutely blow my mind, it's amazing that they're able to think the way that they do, because we forget we're not teenagers anymore, right? I'm in my early 30s. I forgot I even thought as a teenager before because, we're past that space or that stage in our lives, so we kind of forget.
Mm-hmm. So I love the hear that you have a psychology background, because I think that's a lot of what we want to highlight on the show. I have a psychology background too, so it's a lot of what I want people to understand is like very important. You know what I mean? So as far as, like you said, you get the stories and you talk to different people. Can you share some insight on how you're able to manage all this energy and, you know what I mean, all you having all the empathy and sympathy you have to use in the like social science field?
Being patient is key. Being non-judgmental is ultimate, because I was young once, you know, I participated in a lot of different activities that my parents know any idea of, but to them, I was a straight A student and an athlete. You know, I had manners in my household. Mainly my mom has a black belt in karate, but you don't want those.
Yeah.
Now, you know, you gonna try it because you're coming into your hormones, but you're not gonna try it all the way. Yeah. Like well, you know, we about the same size now. But in that, I almost forgot the question, laughing at my mom. That's funny. Wait, repeat the question, because I remember just one time I was like, so and she flexed a little bit. My bad.
How do you handle the, I wouldn't say emotional turmoil, but like emotional baggage that just comes with your career, what you do? How do you handle it day to day?
Being empathetic. Sympathy and empathy are two different things. When you're trying to dive into the counseling field or the conversation, no, I would say counseling field, you can't take on everything, right? Unfortunately, you can't take on the barriers or the burdens of other people. You have to be understanding where they're coming from, mentally, physically, emotionally, but I can't take that home with me because it would begin to affect me. Everyone is going to go through their own seasons of ups and downs, but being able to go, I acknowledge your season, I'm there for you through your season, but I can't take it home. So when girls are experiencing when they're suffering, you know, through different aspects of their life, dealing with death, dealing with breakups, dealing with figuring out their gender, you know, sexuality, when they are trying to make a decision about a group of friends of who they're dating, different relationships, you have to be in a space where being open is key. However, you cannot pass judgment. You can't enforce your ideas. You can only have an open dialogue and provide resources. When I say provide resources, I don't have those additional ABCs after my name, like PhD, or the things that's before my name, like MRS, like Mrs., you know? And so when I speak to kids, I speak to them in a way that they can figure out things on their own, or I point them in the right direction. If they're suffering from mental health illnesses, get them over to a child psychologist or psychiatrist. If they're asking religious questions, get them to a pastor, get them to someone who's an expert in that lane, right? My parents that are also dealing with their kids and dealing with their own lives, getting our parents resources to speak to someone, to have that open dialogue with someone, to let loose of what they're experiencing. I do parent check-ins, and often they were like, yeah, my child, let's separate from your child for just one moment. How are you doing? Right. How are you experiencing life? Right. So in that space, I would say being able to be empathetic mainly, because sympathy is hard on you sometimes.
Yeah. And everything you said definitely was on point. I would say in the beginning, a lot of, I think what we all experience is those detachment issues. We hold on to an idea of who we think we are and how we think life works, and we can't grow from that idea because that idea is safe. We know how it works. We know the ins and outs. But I think a lot of what life is the unknown. You know what I mean? It's being comfortable with what you don't know. And I think that will bring us closer as people if we accept there's a lot that we don't know about each other. Because sometimes we try to be so certain with what we think we're seeing in another person. And we don't realize they have a whole life outside of these moments that we're seeing them in. So this doesn't really give us much. You know what I mean? So we shouldn't even be looking for these type of aspects. And I think that comes from having open-mindedness. It's how you look at yourself, and you can accept what you see in yourself and what you feel like you haven't achieved yet. So, because I think sometimes too, when we're trying to help people, we're trying to help them get to places we felt we haven't went, versus assessing where they are and the help they actually need versus the help we have to offer. Because I think that eliminates us feeling like we can help everyone. Because if this person needs help that I can't give, I immediately have to delegate them to somebody who is a professional in this field.
You can't have that ego and pride.
Yeah, and there's no room for it in growth. I feel like you can only grow through truth. So you have to accept who you are, not who you want to be or who you feel you should be or who you feel pressured that other people want you to be. I think it's accepting who we actually are in that moment. Then we can assess, okay, I need this kind of help. You know what I mean? Maybe it's my temper, or maybe I don't speak up enough. You can be on opposite ends of the spectrum and still need work. So I think humility is like, for me, is always the beginning. It's accepting the work we need to do. Then we can be like, okay, I feel you can do this work. But sometimes we just try to help others and we aren't even helping ourselves because it's the easier task to help someone else. You're not responsible for how that goes. But when it's yourself, you got to deal with that, you know what I mean? The repercussions of your actions. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel like you manage your levels through your journey that you've been going through and I would say social health? Because I feel like in the beginning for me, it was hard because a lot of what I was seeing and people and learning about people while I was in school and while I was talking to people was like, I was taking it personally. You know what I mean? Like I knew people like this and I'm like, this is what they've been doing this whole time. But I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead. Tell me about your wife. But I'm at like, this motherfucker, I'm in the back of my head like, wait till I get off work. You passive aggressive little, okay, all right.
So I've seen that.
Yeah, because it's hard to separate. I think that's like, I got out of clinical. So like I do mostly psychology now, do the show, I do events. But it's like, it's what we already do. It's like kickbacks, it's barbecues, like it's stuff we already do. And then I implement the psychology into a comfortable setting for everyone versus like an office and you see all my books and my stuff on the wall. Like, I ain't like that. You know what I mean? I'll come to your house and we can talk because I want you to be comfortable. Yeah, like I want you to be comfortable, but I also, as much as I'm learning to accept you, I want you to be able to see me as an equal, not someone who feels superior, because I feel like that changes the conversation. When they start to feel like you're being condescending versus like, I'm trying to help you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the first part of that I learned through humility was like, man, I'm trying to tell people to help themselves and I don't know how to help myself. So once I helped myself, I understood. I was like, okay, the first thing I need to be telling them is like, you got to learn to help yourself first. And then we
got to put in the work.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm doing everything and telling you everything to do, I'm not helping you. I'm doing the work for you. If you're doing the work, I add to what you're doing, then I'm helping you. But you got to be you have to have the foundation. You know what I mean? You got to want it. So I just want to know the journey for you. This whole, from you being a kid to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm going to do psychology. Like I'm going to help people. Like
it didn't come that way. It didn't come that way. So I found an old career passport. You know, when you're in high school, your senior year, they ask what you want to be and where you want to go to school. So I knew where I was going to school. Luckily, the Ohio State has a young scholars program that they accept you in the 6th grade. However, you have to maintain a 3.5 GPA from the 6th grade. And then I think maybe it's a 3.0. I can't remember. No, I think it's like a 3. I don't know. I can't remember, but I know it's above a 3.0 until you graduate from high school, right? There, you slack below it, get a 2.9, they give you a warning, and then you lose your scholarship, whatever. So, man, I knew I wanted to do psychology, but I told my family I wanted to become a doctor, like an MD.
Okay.
And so I did my MD stuff, did chemistries, I did organic biology, I did all of that, and then I came to anatomy, right? Anatomy, you're supposed to kill because you're supposed to be a doctor, right? You're supposed to knock it out the park. But nah, actually, I sucked at anatomy. I hated the human body. It was disgusting. I was dealing with cadavers. It was gross.
Can't watch Grey's I don't like looking at none of that. I've never seen
I
that.
didn't know. I didn't know I didn't have a juice like that. On paper, medical Latin terminology, I'm her. You feel me? Like I'm her. But at 6 a.m. when I was going to deal with these dead bodies, let me give the medical term, the cadavers. I was on the phone with my dad, like, Daddy, Uncle JC, I hate this class. I hate the human body. This is not for me. So coming into my senior year, I changed it. I only had one more semester left and it was off to med school, right? Nah, I dropped it. I was a double major anyway. Psychology was my other major. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna rock with psychology.
Okay.
I already had it written in high school. I wanted to be a psychologist.
Yeah.
I didn't,
yeah.
but I did not know I couldn't be a doctor, a MD. So that's like, I had big dreams. But through college, I actually lost my scholarship.
Okay.
So I had to pay out of pocket. And I'm like, dang, I done lost my scholarship. My dad passed away right before graduation. I was suffering, like mentally, emotionally, physically. I was lost, right? I was drinking, I was partying, my grades dropped. I'm like, this is hell. Like, this is not A to B, B to C, C to D. And that's how you think your life is going to travel. You think it's just going to be a straight point. And it was not that for me. I was failing when I was a straight A student my whole life. I didn't understand C's. I was an athlete. I don't like to lose. Like, I don't like to lose anything. I'm a competitor by nature. So my journey from straight A student in high school, some D's here, whatever. Probably a D. I think I got a D in calculus. I tore my ACL. So that was like sad because I couldn't hoop. Like, that's all I know. Like, I couldn't play ball. So when I got to college, I had a point to prove. So I played for OSU Newark and I played for our traveling team at main campus in Columbus. So it wasn't that straight path I thought it was going to be. My dad died right before graduation. So I'm like, this is not what was in the books. You didn't tell me this is going to happen. Like that ain't go down like it was supposed to. Like, what are you talking about? And then I'm like, I don't want to go back to school. So I started working multiple jobs. I was at White House Black Market and Bath and Body Works. And then I got on at Time Warner. From Time Warner, I went to Huntington. I went to JP Morgan Chase. And I worked at Chase for about 6 years. Yes, years. I just walked away from Chase last June. Right. So that was a safe. So 15 writing, working at Jessica. Okay. She said, hey, I'm about to lock my hair, her lock. And I'm like, okay with that. And I'm right. No one knows. I don't even know the girls that I'm writing for. I wanted to open a group home. I don't know anything about opening a group home. So I'm writing stuff for a group home. I have no interaction with teenagers other than my niece and my nephews. So I'm just like, I'm writing. Talking about faith writing. I have no idea that I'm writing for 100 girls that I've seen within this 5-year process. All I know is what it was like for me being a pie girl. When I say a pie girl, I did a little bit of this. So I know I was popping, I had self-esteem. I didn't suffer from self-esteem issue. My daddy, my mom, my grandfather, grandma, they instilled it. You're beautiful, you're smart, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So didn't suffer from self-esteem issues, pride issues, anger issues, yes.
Absolutely.
I was an athlete, I was a nerd. To me, I could dress. I had social skills. I like insects, I like nature. So I can fish, I can start a fire. So I was a pie girl. I do a little bit of everything. So I'm like, there have to be other girls like me that are not just this or that. And if it's girls that are just this and that, no, you can have a little bit of this to you. Somebody else will like that you have a little bit of this to you or a little bit of that to you, and you're not so superficial or you're not so anti-woman. Well, I don't want to be this because this fits this mode. No, you can be in this mode, in this mode, in this mode, and this mode. And if people don't respect that you are all of that, then they don't need to be near you anyway.
Absolutely.
That's what I was writing for, my pie girls. So that transition from high school to college to adulthood was not A to B. It was like A, then it went to B, but then it ended up at F, and I had to go back to C because I missed some spots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And little detours, little knickknacks. From going to Chase and working there, 2 different positions, went from policy and procedure. That's like the legal stuff. Became a banker. It was all about money. I got a promotion to go into investments, and I walked away from all that money. I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm gonna just jump off into the water and see if I can swim. So I'm approaching 1 year of being an entrepreneur, being a founder, being a business owner.
Hey.
This is crazy. It's not.
Yeah.
What was this now? It was this and that. And other. It wasn't linear. I think that's the proper word. It was linear.
Yeah.
Mine has been great.
I think what it sounds like to me is something I'll speak on as far as like how our journey is and the journey of balance.
Going in and out. I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's my reception.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I can hear you
too.
It might be my service, so yeah, bear with me. But I think it's the balance of going in and out and learning who we are, because it's funny that you said you were trying to, feel or be in a space where you feel like other women think similarly to how you think. But like literally listening to your life is similar to my life, like to the basketball, to the injuries, everything is the same. Business.
Man.
I've been self-employed.
Cousin.
Like, yeah, legit. But I've been self-employed for like 7 years. So like we on different timelines, but it's the same story. You know what I mean? And I was at Chase too. I retired from Chase. And I was gonna quit. And my manager, I told him my story, and he was like, nah, you might want to retire. I'm like, yeah. He like, yeah, like just retire. I was like, all right, fuck it. And that was that. You know what I mean?
How did you retire?
At that point. It was
retire.
Like that I had to figure out, but I was like, all right, bet.
They didn't give me retire paperwork. I put in 6 years. Can I?
Oh, they still sent me a bill of what they felt I owed vacation time. I said, yeah, y'all ain't getting that. Y'all good. Y'all got it.
Look y'all got it, big dog.
Y'all up right now. Like, what? You trying to collect some money? Y'all got it. Y'all good.
I still
y'all ain't gonna miss me. Y'all all right. And this was like 2014, 2015. So at that point, I was opening a shoe store, and like in retrospect, I should have probably kept my job a little longer stacked. But like in that moment, I was ready to have my I woke up one day like, y'all can't pay me enough to come in here for 40 hours a week, and I was really working like 50 hours a week because I just overachiever type shit. But then I thought about it. I was like, y'all give me $1 million a year. I come in here, punch that clock, 40 hours a week. I don't say shit. And then put that money into my shit. And after, just seed it and then retire how I did. But if it's anything under that, I can't do it. So I was there less and less. You know what I mean? It's funny that this shit just came up, but I literally got into FMLA. Like I was doing everything I could to not be there, but still had that job for the benefits.
FMLA was nice though, because I needed it. So in 2019,
that's a finesser's dream.
Get off the phone.
No, I didn't finesse it. I didn't finesse it. I promise. I didn't finesse it. FMLA was a necessity.
From the back.
And I'm saying this because my nephew was murdered, and I had a whole mental breakdown. I'm like, bro, how am I supposed to? That's my very first nephew. If you didn't know, Dayton, Ohio, I think is top 5 in killings. Right? He was 18.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, I just turned 30. He was shot a day before my birthday. I'm out in Vegas kicking it. I got a phone call. I'm like, what? Oh, no. Like, y'all tripping. Like, he gonna bounce back. You know, people get shot all the time, you know.
Yeah.
He didn't. So I went from, kids get killed. Unfortunately, let me make sure I word this right. Children, you lose their life to gun violence or suicide or any other things a lot. But I did not think it would be me. I didn't think it would be my nephew. I didn't think it would be my firstborn nephew. I didn't think that would never happen. When I say never, I could have put anything in everything I own in my account on it. Like that had never happened to me. I had never experienced that.
Yeah.
Right? Me and God, you already took my dad. You already did all of this. You never put me through that. It happened.
Yeah.
So, FMLA to me, I needed that shit because I'm thinking like it was like I needed this break.
Yeah.
I needed it. I was working at a branch where I didn't feel comfortable with the manager either. I love JP Morgan, but wasn't comfortable with the manager. And I'm like, look, Tia, you're going to snap. You're going to go back to a place where I was a teenager. I love to fight. Like I don't mind. Like I don't mind. I don't mind. I mean, I'm light skinned. I'm a bruise easily, but I don't care. And that's another thing when it comes to my girls. They see me in this form, but I'm like, your attitudes could never amount to mine. I was a straight A student that liked to talk and didn't care. So when you call my mom, it's not that I couldn't read or couldn't do math. It was, man, she's not listening. She's not conforming.
Yeah.
I can remember in the 5th grade, what was that? Miss Saunders? I think her name was Miss Saunders. She asked me how to structure her class because I was damn near insinuating a riot whenever I wanted to do something. If I'm not doing it, the whole class not doing it. And that's on that. So to understand that I had that type of power at 5th grade, what are you, 11 in the 5th grade, 10? 11?
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
That's
so she had to have a conversation with me and my mom how to structure her class because it would not flow if I didn't want it to flow.
Anarchy! She run around, anarchy!
Like that
crazy,
I don't know what it means, but I love it. Like kids. I don't know what it means.
But that's dangerous because I don't have an IEP, right?
Yeah.
I have both my parents. I don't fit the mode of what it looks like to struggle as a teenager or a elementary kid, but I was suffering from different things.
Absolutely, we all do.
And so I'm like, man, like how could I get this together?
Psychology, though. I think that's like day one, lesson one. When you want to get into psychology, you have to understand when you're healing trauma, you create more new trauma. That's just how life works, because life is about how we handle and manage that trauma and our emotions and how we experience these different things. And making sure we don't project something that happened to me 10 years ago on this person I just met today. Because they no way have any connection to why I feel this.
To what that was.
Put them through this, you know what I mean, punishment when they did nothing wrong. Yeah. And we got to learn to love ourselves and learn to love like who we were and the versions of ourselves we had to create in that moment to survive. But also we have to learn to detach from that when we're no longer in those circumstances. You know what I mean? It's the progression, it's the cycle of life. And I feel like it's painful. And a lot of people get it sold on it. And when they buy in, it's like, yeah, this is going to be this great, wonderful thing. And they do it and they see how like hard it is and how shitty it is. And they're not comfortable with even saying like, damn, this is shitty or even dealing with it. So it devours you. You know what I mean? Eventually it's going to. So I wanted that was something, I guess, the connection earlier I wanted to make, so you can just paint some insight for us on psychology, because again, me and you are very similar, just listening to like your timeline. So how do you deal with something I feel like I dealt with as a result of who I was, like overstimulation, when you just have too much energy and you got too much insight and you feel unstoppable? Because again,
you start a business
place to be.
You start a business.
That's a dangerous place to be in when you feel like can't nobody tell you nothing or you ain't wrong or like how I feel is how I feel.
Oh, you go through heartbreak. You go through hardness. You go through being in a relationship with people you're not supposed to be in a relationship with. Because when you're inside of that relationship, it gets volatile, you know? Yeah. I felt like my mom was in domestic violence situation. So sometimes for a long time, I thought I'm supposed to fight my boyfriend. Like that's supposed to happen, you know. I seen it.
Too smart
that's
for your
supposed to happen, right? And so the dudes I'm dealing with, either they had a girl that liked to fight them or spaz.
Or
them in their toxic mind.
Too. A lot of my friends, their mom used to fight them, and that's how they got into that, like feeling like, oh, me fighting a woman is cool.
Or I went through because this is my life story. So I don't have any whole siblings. Some people do. I don't have any whole siblings, but I have 7 siblings, right? 2 by my mom. I just found out that I had another sister in 2020. When I say another sister, she's 27 with 2 kids. We're from the same city. I was playing around with 23andMe, and it says, congratulations, you have a half sister. what are you talking about? My dad's been dead since 2013. How do I have a half sister? Impossible. Impossible. But numbers don't lie. So
They don't lie.
I looked at this girl and I'm like, hi. But I was angry at my dad at the time in 2020 because my business is successful. I'm winning at life by definition, but I don't have somebody I wanted with me.
Yep.
Right. So I'm screaming and I'm talking to God or / talking to my dad. I don't know who I was talking to, but whatever I did, they felt it. Whoever it was, they felt it and they sent me a sister.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm like, her name is Stormy. Hi, Stormy, if you ever see this. And so me and her immediately bonded because she was yearning for her half, trying to figure out her whole, why she has this flamboyant personality that didn't fit her household.
That's in the magic world what we call reincarnation.
Yeah.
Right.
This person was supposed to be in your life, so now they in your life.
and she fits just with our other brothers because it's just me and her. Remember, now it's 4 boys plus me and her. So I'm like, cool, I got a sister. I have a sister with my mom, but I grew up with her. That was my big sister. She tormented me when I was younger. And so now I torment her as an adult.
Live in, live out siblings is hit different.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
I mean, it was real fights going down at that house. Like, that's why I got the hands I do today. But it's a 5-year gap between me and her, but it's also, I think, a 5-year gap between me and my younger sister as well. So I'm a middle sister. I went from being a little sister to a big sister to a little sister. So I see dynamics now that my older sisters feel like you're annoying.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, I'm the youngest. Shout out to all the youngest in the world. I'm the youngest.
I was the youngest.
I'm just
I was the youngest.
The oldest.
So you had all the responsibility. See, I was the youngest with the most responsibility. I was the youngest with the most responsibility because they knew, like, all right, Tia's going to handle it a little bit different.
Be different. This one different.
Yeah. No, I'm the oldest of siblings from my mom, the oldest of all the grandkids. So, yeah, right. Yeah, I was. Yeah,
but you also got the spoil aspect of it too because you were the first.
Yes. And what's funny is that
it was just you for a little bit.
Shout out if they're listening. I know my aunts were in it. Like, they make fun of me all the time. Like, she's spoiled. You're spoiled. It's the first. So
I was the rebel. I was the revolutionary. Ready to go to war out the womb.
Was I the rebel? I don't think I was the rebel, but I was always the innovator. I came up with the ideas all the time. My mom, like, you would get in trouble in my household if you was a follower. Like, oh, you followed somebody down there and you did that because everybody else was doing, you're in trouble. But you would get in less trouble if you were the leader. So do you want the worst aspect of the whooping, or you want the whooping is going to be bad, but it's not going to be the conversation of why are you following somebody?
Yeah. You want to lose twice today or lose once?
1.5. You're going to lose 1.5. Because you're still going to get whatever that's coming. My mom didn't beat me, y'all. She didn't beat me, but I tell you, I was a black belt in karate.
You never got a whooping?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. A lot.
Yeah, I used to get
I was rough. I mean, I was climbing on roofs, climbing trees. I was in the baths. Well, if you all know from Dayton, it's something called the Soda Baths. I used to be at the Boys and Girls Club all the time. So it was a kids that was from ultimately the projects, you know. I was integrated into a lifestyle because I was in drill team. So I met a certain basis of kids that you think you can do that? I'm gonna try it. Cool, but let's do it my way, because if we do it this way, we don't get in a little bit of trouble. Let's make sure we get out of the situation. I'm gonna do it, but we're not gonna get caught.
Yeah.
So that's why when I speak to my girl,
reactive. But I think a lot of that is like connected to psychology. Like, to me, I've always felt like psychology was a Black science, like, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, Africans, like, they see each other as different, but I just see like Black people. So I feel like this was always our science, like, to teach us life skills, so we can understand like how to navigate the world. I think sometimes people are looking for the answers to a perfect life, but like, that's not out there. Like, the only answers is out there to show you how to live the life you want to live without all the like recoil and blowback. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is something now on a point we got to share with each other, like our life experiences and where we see ourselves and who we want to be. So everything you've been through and who you are today, where do you want to take that to? Like, what's next for you?
So over the summer, I was in a leadership meeting where we were getting bestowed a board member, right? But in this leadership meeting that was through the Dayton Area Chambers of Commerce, there were, I think it was the American Cancer Society, the Dayton Art Museum, who else was in that group? A lot of 150 years nonprofit organizations. That's where I want to see myself.
Which is amazing.
Like when I'm dead and gone, I want not necessarily my legacy, this foundation to be everything that it was. That if I'm starting at 80%, the next person can take it to 80.5% or 81%. The next program director, the next other organization person to build and go up. So to see myself, what is that? We 5 years in, so 145 years later. I'm not going to live that long. I see an organization that has impacted Black young girls or bronze girls. I was talking to a guy in the health food store when I was grabbing some frankincense. He was like, in the Bible, we're not called Black, we called bronze. They probably called us that for a reason. So when I messaged Jessica, I was like, bronze girls. So I see it being way bigger to me, almost like a Girl Scout, where that longevity, that culture, which is for all girls, but this is for us. This is for girls, high girls. These are nature, sports, mathematicians, science, psychologists, medical doctors, where they have a space to grow and to go, or engineers, right?
Yeah.
Models.
Sounds like a village to me, but keep going, proceed.
Yeah, so they have a space to express yourself events. They have these things that are continual, like they sell Girl Scout cookies, but as we're teaching the community about the things that they need to learn, what we have coming up, we're blessed with 5 years, right? So we're having our annual celebration April the 9th, where we're in our financial literacy course, and within that, we're having a duel with the community of Dayton. Do you guys know more about financial literacy than what we do?
Yeah.
In these 3 months that we're being taught things, we're going to talk, can you distinguish between a trust and estate account, bonds versus stocks, compound interest versus simple interest? Can you be our girls? And ultimately, that's going to teach them something that they've never even experienced before. And I believe our girls are going to win.
I believe they probably will.
It's up, but we have some partners that's in the financial field, so they can't wait to put their 2 cents in. But they're not gonna be able to answer all the questions though.
I think they should set out though.
I think that's the point though. You know what I mean? Making everyone feel like they can do this, and making everyone feel like you can take control of your finances, because that's the truth. Like, everyone has that potential, and it's not always even how much money we make. Sometimes it's how much we spend, and it's our habits. And I think, this is something I've been pushing like the last decade, is financial literacy, and just learning even in my own rights how I can be better with saving and investing and managing and so on and so forth. So this was awesome. The whole conversation. I loved it. Is there anything you want to leave the people at home with, or wherever they are?
No, I don't know either. So I want to circle back. April the 9th at the Dayton Metro Library from 12 to 4 p.m. We are having our 5th annual celebration. Please come down, bring your kids. It's open to the community. Donation tickets are welcome. Come see what we do, or what we have been doing for the past 5 years. Our girls are going to put on their own presentations based off their own version of what it means to be a gem to them. We are graduating our very first senior, who's been with me all 5 years. I almost have a tear because this is my girl.
That's awesome. Yeah.
She's almost like a little prodigy. I'm like, you've been with me this whole time, so you've seen me grow. You've seen the program grow from only doing it every 3 months or every 2 months to having a safe space every week that you know where we're gonna be at every time. And kids need consistency, right?
Absolutely.
So having a location, and I'm thankful for McKinley. Fifth Third actually sponsored this program, so I'm thankful for Fifth Third for building our literacy program, technology and literacy, and we're going to show them that their coins was not in vain, that their space was not in vain. So, yep.
That is awesome.
Well, for those who can't join in on the fun in Dayton, is there somewhere that they can donate any tickets to help the cause or to help you guys?
So Eventbrite, just type in Money Moves, Dayton, Ohio, is going to pop up. You can visit our website. We have Cash App. We take Cash App, Venmo, Zelle.
All of it.
I need to stay off TikTok. I really do.
Yeah.
I really need to stay off TikTok because I'm telling you, all the little slogans be running in my head. But all of that is on our website. I think our Cash App is GEMS, GEMS, the letter N, the number 2, maturity, MATURITY, spell check, but I think that's right. Visit our website. We have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. I think we're everywhere kids, teenagers, the youth are, and just see what we do. Give. We around.
We look forward. We're definitely going to be tapping in a lot more.
This is beautiful.
I feel like we're going to be at the event.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If nothing else is going on that we have to be at, I will be there.
Bring your kids. It's fun. It's going to be vision boards. It's going to be games. It's going to be vendors. And okay, it's a battle. You know, our girls are going to win.
I love battles. I don't like beating girls, but I love battles.
No.
Be competitive and try to win. Because I have to research these things now. That's why.
Don't be cheating. Come with your natural born knowledge of what you got. Your inert knowledge. He about to be in it.
Like to win that much. Is that a tablet? I'm like, no, I'm not.
I'm gonna do you like I do my kids. Hey, everybody, hand me your phones. Check it in.
I just brought my realtor with me because that's my friend.
Matter of fact, we have a realtor coming today, Miss Kimberly Williams.
Oh, nice.
She's coming to talk about owning property. So just to talk about the session, I don't know, we have to get the phone now. The phone is the podcast. Are we still going?
Oh no, we going, baby. Yeah.
Okay. So I can keep going. We're inside of our Express Yourself sessions. Those are what we have every week. Express Yourself events is how we summarize things. So our girls, they earn their certificate, they do their presentations, or they do X amount of things to serve the community. That's how they also earn their volunteer hours. So we had Miss Amani to come down. She's from Parity. She's an accountant. We had Fifth Third to do the banker aspect of it, check how to write a check, debit cards, whatever. We have Miss Kimberly Williams coming in. She's a realtor, the value of owning property. Legacy things, to earn residual income. We have Mr. Ron Jones from JP Morgan Chase coming in. He's a financial advisor. So teaching about trusted estates, investments, stocks, bonds, NFTs, things that they need to know, right? Bitcoin, virtual currency. This, I would say, kind of is to get our girls to recognize they may not remember all of it, right? But it's exposure. So what you don't remember now, when you come back around to it, when you need it, like knowing your credit, how to build credit, and to be there. I didn't learn about that. I remember sitting next to Jordan in policy and procedures, and she's like, "Yeah, my credit is at 800." I'm like, "How's your credit at 800?" My parents put me on their credit card when I was 16. Nobody knew that hack. That is a hack.
I do
pay
that.
Off your credit card.
Yeah.
You knew it then or now?
I mean, I've always done it, but still to the authorized users. Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that. I wouldn't want my mama to put me on her credit card.
All the reporting you get, everything you do, show them on there. Yeah.
But nobody knows that. Well, I ain't gonna say nobody.
I would say I don't want to. The episode has been friendly, so I don't want to be controversial. But white people know that. People know that.
She was a white girl.
That's how they was getting 17, 18 with A1 credit.
She dropped that on me. I was 20.
We didn't know that.
And I looked at her like, they did what? And so what I did is I added RIP to my nephew, Stephon G. Ray Hunter Jr. I added him to my credit card when he was 16. So one day he was in class, he was at Job Corps, and he was talking to one of his teachers like, man, I got perfect credit. I don't know what the teacher tried to say or tried to pull. He pulled up Credit Karma and seen that perfect credit score, baby. That was me, you know. You feel me? But he knew the importance of. He wasn't playing. He was on head. Like, that's a black man at 18 with a perfect credit score. He's rich. He's no debt, perfect credit score. You're rich. You're literally rich.
Yeah.
And to know that. And I don't know what the back and forth was about. He's like, but auntie, let me tell you. Like, but that was me learning in an instant at 25. Let me see, if I was 25, he was like 15, 16. I was like 26. So he was like 16, we're 11 years apart. Maybe I was 27. I don't know. I can't remember. But I added him to my credit card because it was a credit card. It only had a $500 limit. All I paid was my T-Mobile phone bill. And that's still the only thing I pay on it to this day. So his credit score was perfect. Not a blemish. And to him, and I learned that by a side conversation. I learned it from a side conversation. And when Jordan told me that, I was looking at her like, you can do that? Didn't even know. Blew my mind.
But that's the intuitiveness. I feel like most of the things like that in them situations I learned was random. And I didn't come here today to learn this, but I heard it. I'm like, damn, that makes sense. Let me try it. And you try it and it worked. And they was right.
I don't think she meant to tell me the white secrets. No, I'm just like, doing this. See this.
We wrote it down and we shared with our friends, though.
Called her dad.
Share with your friends. Let them know. Oh, no.
I didn't know that. I was telling Janet, and they was there.
But I think I got our
invite. They know.
Out, though, guys. I think we got the invite.
So I got it off of a random conversation. And that was like an unlocked financial secret that really helped my nephew. I mean, he didn't get to utilize it. But in the case of conversation, whatever that teacher was trying to impose on him or trying to assume about this young black man, they couldn't. Because technically,
because that's a lot of what they're trying to program. Like they're programmers in some sense. And I feel like what you did on so many levels, just from a male's perspective, like you couldn't even understand like how important that was. And I think even like the black, you know what I mean, brown, whatever you consider yourself male in this country, like money is centered a lot around confidence. So already in the beginning, like when you get the opposite type of family, like those people that was putting bills in your name and shit, and like you owe money, as soon as you realize what credit is, it messes with your confidence immediately. Like your mental health, like it immediately takes a hit and takes a strike and makes you feel like less than and inadequate. But sometimes like we do pull from the fact that we're at balance. Like we don't owe anybody no money and we can move freely, and we know like I don't got a bad spending habit, so I'm comfortable. Like I'm cool with going to the mall because I know I ain't about to spend rent here. You know what I mean? Like just go get a Cinnabon or something. That's cool. So I feel like what you were doing is like now what I push. You know what I mean? Because I was on the opposite end. I was on the end you were on as well. Like a lot of things I know I had to teach myself through seeing someone else have it and like not being envious of it, but being like, damn, like, okay, they can get it, like, I can get it too, like, cool, like, I can, that makes sense. You know what
motivation.
I mean? Like, well, they shouldn't have it because nobody gave that to me. I look at it like, okay, like, we all can have that. They might have taught themselves. I don't know. You know what I mean? So let me try to teach myself. And that early empowerment, like, I mean, it changes your life. It changes how you enter your life. And I was fortunate to have a lot of situations I was able to bounce back from. But I also realized in that same situation, like everyone can't bounce back from this. So I gave myself grace and realizing like, I made it through this. You know what I mean? I feel like almost it gives you a responsibility to not testify, but share what you learn with someone else, like someone who potentially might be in the same situation next year. And you can at least be that for them, at least be the faith that they need to get through these things. You know what I mean? So hearing them kind of stories like is amazing. I had that a lot too. Like I grew up around a lot of older women who just admire me. Like I could do no wrong in their eyes. Spoiled the hell out of me, but like I grew out of that. But I needed that. I needed to believe in myself. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's our greatest ally. Like you just knowing you can do it. And with people like what we're doing and people like what you do, like it's possible. You know what I mean? It gives people hope. So that's love. Like, yeah, we got 2-3 hours for stuff like this. I feel like these are conversations people need to hear and need to be a part of. And even if you like to hear it and you're like, yeah, they're saying dope things, like cool, you need to be participate. Share these conversations. Ask people these questions. Ask yourself these questions. Make yourself a little uncomfortable with not knowing who you fully are. That will help you realize who you are. You know what I mean? That will help you learn more about yourself. Like, that's why I love indulging these conversations that sometimes even show me like, damn, like how I thought about something was misconstrued. Like it was misguided. You know what I mean? Like it almost felt like it was tied to insecurity. And sometimes people set us free because they say things that's like, it opens us up. Like, okay, like I need to have a broader mind versus such a narrow mind about what I feel I'm certain about in the world and like how people work and people's intentions. Because a lot of this, I feel like, ties into our relationships. Like when I was going into therapy first, just overthinking, seeing similar things in this person I've seen in my past. So I'm like, I already know, you know, who you are and how you feel and what you think.
And you was misjudging them.
Yeah, because I wasn't humble in myself. Like sometimes we feel overconfident. We think we know more than what we actually know. Relax, mama.
Oh, hi, baby.
Yeah.
She's tired. She's like, okay, Dad. Let's wrap it up.
So I feel like more so everything I feel like I've been showing people and been trying to get people to understand was more so not me teaching them, but me learning more about myself and me accepting more about myself that maybe, you know, I wasn't so open to accept. So leave us off just with give us some insight to things you've learned about yourself on this journey, things that you realize by, you know, your service to others, like what you do.
Everybody needs a psychologist.
Yeah, ooh, absolutely.
Yeah. Be forgiving of yourself, be forgiving of others. Be able to go back and say, I thought one thing, but now that I'm at this level, I no longer think that way. So be able to change and come to common ground with people. See what you guys have in common before you look at what you have that's different. That's all.
I love that. That was beautiful. Okay, tell everybody where they can find you at so they can follow you and make you famous, more famous than you.
Oh, I don't know about famous, but y'all can follow me or us. I'd rather us. Girls Emerging into Maturity nonprofit organization can be found as our name, Girls Emerging into Maturity, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. Our website is girlsemergingintomaturity.org. If you ever need somebody to talk to, our contact phone number is 937-838-1969. 937-838-1969. Yeah, that's where we at. That's where we be.
Yeah, well, Tia, this is definitely not the last that we will be seeing of you or Girls Emerging into Maturity. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us today.
Yay. Hi, y'all. Do I stay on? Do I hang up? What do I do?
You can stay on.